You may have heard that there are very few new cars available right now, and used car prices are through the roof. They're up about 42%. But what you do if you need a new ride and you want a good deal, you don't want to get ripped off, well, it's important to note this is all because of a global chip shortage that probably won't end until mid-2022. And this means there's a lack of computer chips for cars, phones, computers, game consoles, and a lot more. But the effect on the auto industry is a bit different. A new vehicle can have as much as 100 semiconductor chips on board. That's a lot. So let me answer some of your questions that are going through your head, and I'll see you right after the clip.
Good afternoon, Lauren, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So let's look at the status of the car market. Why is it such a tough environment right now?
Well, we've got a chip shortage, and we also have a rubber shortage, which a lot of people aren't aware of because everyone's talking about microchips. So that means manufacturers can't produce a car and send it out 99% complete. So that obviously means there's going to be a shortage of supply. So people started looking at used cars, which has caused the prices to go up almost 40% in many vehicles. So you got trucks, SUVs, and even sports cars have gotten way crazy on prices. I was just looking at them, the current numbers before we got on air, and they're just unbelievable, way over ask on a used car. So be very careful what you purchase if you need a vehicle.
So we have a shortage of new cars. We have prices going up 40% on used cars. Let's talk, if you're in the market, let's talk about some tips as to whether you should lease or you should buy.
Right. Okay. First off, people are always confused. Do I lease or do I buy? Now, you know the number is going to be less per month if you lease it, but you do need to know one important thing. Not how much it is per month, but how many miles do you drive per year.
That's right.
So if you drive between 10 and 15,000 miles a year, that's great. That's a perfect sweet spot for leasing a car. If you drive under 10,000 or over 15,000, you should always buy, because you'll either leave money on the table or end up with a big bill at the end for over mileage, which gets very expensive. So you want to make sure to know where you are driving, and if it's under that 10,000, keep the car. You'll make more money that way.
And that's even given the fact that you have to put a lot more down when you finance, right? You still find that that's true?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That is true, yes. And there are very few finance deals going on right now.
All right. So now, if you do lease, what are some three kind of must-ask questions that ensure that you don't get taken for a ride here?
Right. The first thing you got to find is what are the doc fees or documentation fees. So there shouldn't be a lot. It should be maybe $50. That's literally taking the paperwork and moving it from one side of the desk to another, making sure the Department of Motor Vehicles gets your license plates and all that. That documentation fee I've seen as high as $1,000. That is unacceptable. You might be able to negotiate that down, but if you feel that you're not being treated right at a dealer, you walk away. Always think in your head, never be afraid to walk away. There's another car. As P.T. Barnum says, there's a butt for every seat. So you really have to kind of think in your, well, people don't think that. Oh, I want this red car. I got to have it. But there's tons of them around the country. So they'll make more. It's like Doritos, you know?
Right. This just happened to me because I'm getting out of a lease, and I was just told by my dealer I have a $400 restocking fee that I did not realize was actually in there. So you have to, it happened to me. You have to ask those questions. Now, should you use a lease broker if you do decide that you're going to lease?
Well, there are lease brokers out there that are supposed to negotiate for you, but there's a fee on top of that. So if you want to do your own homework, I do that at Car Coach Reports. I put that on the Newsmax.com site all the time. Every week we're giving good advice, and if you need to get out of a lease, that's all on the website. And I think the big thing is if you think that you can't afford it, never be car poor. People tend to do that. They, I really want that car, and they find themselves in trouble. So look at the monthly and know that if the car has a better what's called residual value, that's the value of that vehicle 3 years down the road, then that would lower your monthly payment. So if you're looking at like a Toyota minivan, it's going to obviously have much better resale value than maybe some generic SUV. So keep that in mind when you're looking at vehicles. The higher the residual, the lower your payment, because you're just renting the car when you lease.
All right, Lauren, let's talk about buying now. Three must-ask questions, tips, if you decide you're going to finance.
Okay, first off, is the price negotiable? I always tell people that is never ever pay that number that's on the sticker. Even in today's market, if they see the price is on the window, then they're not negotiable. You should walk out of the dealership and find another vehicle because there's always room to move. Remember, here's a very important factor no one talks about. If you're sticking with the same brand, whether it's a low end or a real expensive brand, there's something called a loyalty discount. And that's between $1,000 and $2,000 that if you don't ask for it, the dealer keeps. But if you're switching from, let's say, a Mercedes to an Audi or vice versa, there is that same dollar amount. It's called a Conquest discount. And any sales consultant that tells you, oh, we don't know what you're talking about, that doesn't exist, is not being honest with you. Again, don't ever be afraid to walk away.
All right. And any final thoughts, any final pieces of advice we haven't hit yet? Real quick.
Yes. Please test drive any vehicle you're thinking about owning. And remember, the seats will never get more comfortable, nor the visibility will never get any better the longer you own it. People do that all the time.
Yeah.
I love this car. It's so uncomfortable. Then why did you buy it? You're stuck with it.
All right. Lauren Fix, that was really fantastic. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here.
If you have any additional questions about the interview or something that you're working on, you're not getting a good deal, put it in the comments down below. I am more than happy to help you. And if you got value from this video, give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Like I said, questions need to be answered. Don't pay full retail and be sure to negotiate. And I'm sure you'll be a much happier buyer. You can follow me on social media. I've got a lot of new information coming out on all platforms at Lauren Fix. We put out good prices, good auto information, and there's even more on my website, Car Coach Reports. It's available in English and in Spanish. Check out that website and our new podcast. We're having a great time. It's called Total Car Score. It's available on all platforms. Hopefully you'll join us. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.